This is my first YouTube video, and I didn't really know what I wanted it to be about, but I decided that I wanted to address a topic, and that is in the regards to smoking and cigarettes, and kind of I guess my little story of how I started smoking cigarettes, and just kind of like struggling with addiction and like a little understanding of how I'm able to cope with that. So first off, let's start with the topic of smoking. Smoking is bad, obviously. But the first kind of cigarette that I ever smoked was actually a Cool. The packs, they have the 100s, which are the longer cigarettes, and the shorter ones, they're obviously the shorts, but they call them the Filter Kings. It has an FK on the packaging and stuff of the Cools. First and foremost, those are menthol cigarettes. The first pack of cigarettes that I actually bought, though, I was smoking Camel Crushes. I started with the regular ones, the regular Camel Crush, but I had seen that they have like silver, which is supposed to be, I guess, like a light cigarette, but it has the Crush for the menthol as well. And along with that, they also have the Camel Crush menthol, which is a green pack, black and green. And yeah, I was smoking those, and then afterwards I ended up getting the Marlboro NXTs. I've tried the Marlboro Smooth, Marlboro Ice, Marlboro Blue, Cools. I actually, well, technically how I got started on the Cools was, it wasn't given to me by my dad, but it was influenced by him, I guess I could say, because obviously my dad's been smoking cigarettes, and my dad always smokes Cools. That's the only one that he really likes. He don't really care too much for anything else. I mean, I do like the Newports as well, but personally I like the Cools more than the Newports. Some people are the other way around, but if I don't have a Cool, hopefully somebody has a Newport. Like, hey, you got a port? That's like that's more common though, like among a lot of the menthol likers. Like, they always want either the Cools typically or the Newports. And so about being addicted for life. Is it a lifelong addiction? I guess that's totally subject to like your willpower, and like, if like some people are able to smoke like 2 cigarettes a day, 1 cigarette a day, but me, I was pretty bad with it. I was smoking like, I have a 30-minute lunch break at my job, and then I'd smoke like 3 cigarettes, and it's like, geez. Got to the point where I was smoking like a pack a day. Woke up, I would probably have like a cup of coffee and smoke a cigarette and whatever. And it's like, it just got to the point where it was like cigarette, which definitely takes a toll on your pockets. Your pockets look like they have a ginormous hole in it because they are just leaking money. It is a very expensive habit. And I'm not saying that it's bad to put your money towards things that you enjoy. So, like, if you're somebody that likes to smoke, well, you know what I mean? Nobody can influence you to stop. Nobody can make you stop. If it's something you like to do, then, I mean, I'm not saying do it, but do it. Just like if somebody likes to drink, and you know what I mean? It's like, you can't tell people what to do. You're not nobody's boss. You're the boss of your own life. And if you feel like smoking cigarettes is what you want to do, you enjoy it, you like the taste of the tobacco, it calms you down, or whatever the hell you makes you feel like you want to do it, or like you gotta do it, then you know what I mean. I'm not nobody to tell you, you know what I mean, stop doing it. But if you ask me, I knew it was something that I didn't want to be doing for the rest of my life, because I started smoking when I was 18 years old. And I think around when I was 19 years old, I think that's when they had updated the law, and that's when the time around, I think, when they had up the age in Texas to 21 to be able to smoke legally. And I believe that was around the time that they did that. And before that, though, while I was still in high school, I was around, I'd probably say around 15 years old. That was actually when I was first introduced to vaping. I was that cool vape kid. Oh my god, like, that's so edgy. And I didn't really want to smoke cigarettes, and I wasn't smoking any other substances. Marijuana. Yeah. No, that though actually came a little later. I was probably like 17, I'd say. I was probably around 17 though when I started smoking. I'm gonna just draw a fat ass doobie. It's gonna look like a Cuban cigar. Let me just draw that real quick. Fat ass fucking doobie. There you go. What is that? It gotta have some green in it. So that's when I started smoking weed. And do I feel like smoking weed is a good thing? Well, personally, if you ask me, like I said, like, if you're gonna do something, be your own boss. Do what you want to do. Don't let nobody influence you. You know what I mean? Ride your own wave. Don't let nobody tell you that you can do something, and don't let nobody tell you that you can't do something. Never be limited. But this is just like my personal experience. So I drew a big ass cloud. Big fluff. And that was just kind of like my personal experience, though. It's like, I couldn't say that, you know, I had a lot of negative influences, but my dad, you know, like I said, always was smoking cigarettes. I mean, he doesn't smoke a lot, and like, he's a lot better with it, because, like, you know, when he smokes a cigarette, some people, they'll smoke half a cigarette and then they'll put it out and then they'll put it back in their pack and they'll save it for later. He thinks that's nasty. If he smokes half a cigarette or even a quarter of a cigarette and he puts it out, he gonna leave that bitch there. He's not gonna keep smoking it, because, you know what I mean? That's, he don't like it. I was bad. I would put him out. I would save them and I'd go back and smoke them. And I guess I could say when I was like around at my worst, because I like menthols. I don't like regulars, but I'm the kind of person that I will smoke a regular if that's the only cigarette I have. If my dad don't have a cigarette and he were to want a cigarette, he'll go without it. He won't even bother. He don't like regulars at all. But me, I was to the point where, if I didn't have a cigarette, I'll take whatever I could get. So I'm 22 now, and like I said, I've been kind of having a few rough patches or whatever in my life and stuff, and I was I'd say about a year clean from cigarettes, and along with marijuana, I don't smoke weed no more. I quit that. And then the cigarettes, though, it's like always been a battle between addictions, and I just figured that what was I gonna do? I'm 22, I have a daughter, and she's a year old, and to think that for most of that year I was still smoking, I finally was like, I gotta give it up, and it's like, and I finally kicked the weed smoking, and it's not about being too old, it's about trying to do the right thing and doing what's right, but figuring out what was I gonna do. I've had different devices. The very first device I had, it is called an iStick Pico by eLeaf. It's a little I'm trying to do a little sketch of it. Kind of like, it's black, it's kind of like square shaped, and mind you, this is the very first device I had when I was, like I said, 15 years old. There was a vape shop that I would go to. I had a buddy, his name was Thomas Taylor, and it was like that, and it had a tank on it. And little drip tip. So there's a little thing like that, and it was black. And that was the very first device that I had. And afterwards, Thomas was like, that's pretty cool, blah, blah, blah. But he's like, it's all about the competition mods and stuff like that. He would do tournaments and shit. It's like, he'd blow big clouds, and it's like, that's when I ended up getting my other device. And just to put it in simple terms, it was a little tugboat. So that's gonna be my little tugboat. That was the other device that I had ended up getting, because he's like, you gotta get a competition mod, you gotta build your own coils and blah blah blah. And I never really got big on building coils and doing all that. I mean, for him, it was all about the ohms. You gotta have a certain amount of ohms to have less resistance, to be able to like pull in more and take in more and get the biggest clouds. He'd chuck big clouds, do jellyfishes and starfishes and any other kind of fish in the sea that you could think of. No, I'm being funny. But I decided that it wasn't about having the biggest device. It wasn't about chucking the biggest cloud. It wasn't about being the most noticeable, you know what I mean? What do you have to show? Like, you shouldn't be about trying to show off and trying to, like, you know what I mean? Because there's places that they don't like vaping inside, and places that don't like smoking inside in general. Like, they're, you know what I mean? So it's pretty much about what was going to work, what was going to be efficient, what was going to be, you know, a decent price, not too expensive, but something that I was going to enjoy. And I had, you know, struggled a while to find it, but I finally found one that works out for me. So in my personal experience, I feel like the Esco Bars is the choice of vape that I like. This one is a watermelon ice, and I've got a few of the different flavors. I like them. I've actually given away like 3 of them already. And this one is red apple. It's 5% for the nicotine, and it says Pastel Cartel because Escobar, Pablo Escobar, and that's them. No buttons. Disposables. They're 2,500 puffs, and they're like $20. And I got a shop that like is just down the road. I could walk over there and not even have to worry about it, and just, you know what I mean, just kind of get out and whatever. I'll go there. I'll go to that shop and I'll buy, you know, this. I'll buy, you know, other stuff. It's a smoke shop. They got a bunch of different stuff. I'll buy these. I've purchased knives from there. They got knives. They got torches. They got other smoking essentials for the smoking kind. And it's like, you know what I mean? This is what I like. The clouds, they're not super huge. They're not super huge clouds, but it gives a good enough nicotine buzz, and it's tobacco free. So honestly, like I said, vaping, I'm not saying is a better alternative to smoking. I'm not saying vaping should be something that you should start doing if you don't smoke, because like I said, when I was 15 I started vaping. What does vaping lead to? Smoking. And I'm not saying that just because you vape means that you're gonna end up smoking cigarettes, but there's a lot of people who start smoking and they turn to vaping, and then they try to lower their nicotine down to 0, and then from there try to like wean themselves off vaping. But for some people, it's just the smoke fixation that they like, which like attracts them. Like, they think it's cool. It's not cool. It's not fun. I mean, it might be fun for some people. I don't exactly find it fun. I just find it kind of like something I gotta do. Like, some reason I just gotta breathe smoke like I'm a fucking, like I'm a dragon. But, you know, all jokes aside and stuff, Pastel Cartel, Esco Bars, that is my choice of smoke essentials. Only like $20, but I always get them. And yeah, that just about concludes my little life journey. And if you smoke safe. That Sharpie's all dried out. Let me see. Where did I put my black stuff over here? Smoke safe. Or be free. Smoke safe or be free. It's the only two options. If you're free, flock like a bird. And most importantly, ride your own wave. Don't join a trend. Don't join a trend just because you think it's cool or just because everybody's doing it or if your parents do it, you know what I mean? You don't have to be addicted for life. You don't have to feel like you have a ball and chain on your leg, like you're gonna be pulled down. You don't need to feel like you are being a prisoner to an addiction. Anything is possible, anything is achievable, and this is my escape to smoking tobacco. And I know I'm still taking in nicotine, but that's my choice.